Last night, as soon as I walked into the house, my wife was standing by the entrance, frozen. Her face looked like she had been holding something in for a very long time, and my chest instantly tightened. On the dining table, my work laptop and papers were scattered like someone had searched through them. She spoke in a quiet, trembling voice. "You look exhausted these days." That single sentence hit me like a punch. I almost said the same old line. "I'm fine. I always endure." Because that's who I believed I had to be. But then she looked straight into my eyes and asked, "Why have you been crying alone at night?" My heart dropped. Of course she knew. She had seen everything. I froze in place. Every moment I broke down in the dark living room flashed before my eyes. All the pain I kept burying suddenly started flooding upward. My wife pulled out a chair for me and sat across from me slowly. "Tell me the truth. What's happening at work?" she asked. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Every word felt heavy, like it would shatter into pieces. For years, I never told anyone how much I was hurting. I thought being the provider meant locking everything inside. Then suddenly, a tear slid down my cheek. She reached out and wiped it away, without saying a word. Her hand was warm, and for the first time in a long time, I felt the weight on my shoulders loosen. But right when I felt a tiny bit lighter, my phone rang. The caller ID showed the company number. My stomach twisted instantly. I answered with a shaking voice. It was my team leader. "Kim, the morning report, redo it." Just like that, my emotions crashed again. Moments ago, I was on the edge of relief, and suddenly I was drowning again. Frustration boiled up in me. "Do you know what time it is?" The words came out sharper than I intended. The team leader's voice turned cold. "You're the team manager. Just endure it." That sentence cut deeply, like a blade I'd been stabbed with before. I went silent. Then, for the first time in years, I said what I'd never dared to say. "I can't endure anymore." The call ended abruptly. My hands were shaking, but strangely, I also felt something break free inside me. My wife squeezed my hand gently. "Enough," she whispered. "Start living your life first." Her voice felt like a lifeline, soft but powerful. I felt something warm spark inside me. A tiny flame I thought had died long ago. Can I start again? The thought scared me, but it also gave me strength. Then suddenly the phone rang again. This time, an old name appeared. A friend I hadn't spoken to in 10 years. Young Ho. I picked up in shock. "Hey, Kim. Heard you're struggling." My heart sank. "How did you know?" He paused, then said, "Let's meet tomorrow morning. I have something important to show you." His tone wasn't casual. Something about it made my chest tighten. In an unfamiliar way. Fear, hope, expectation all mixed. I hung up and sat there quietly. My wife came closer and said, "Go. Don't hide from this one." Her words sank deep into me. I felt like someone had thrown a rope to the version of me that was drowning in the dark. That night I lay awake. My mind kept replaying the moments I avoided change because I thought I wasn't allowed to choose differently. But maybe there was another path. Morning came too early. My heart kept pounding as I prepared to leave the house. My wife stopped me at the door and said, "No matter what you hear today, trust yourself." She gave me a small smile, the kind she used to give me. Before life got heavy, I walked out into the cold air. For the first time, the world felt strangely quiet, like something was waiting. As I walked toward the cafe, where Young Ho and I agreed to meet, my mind swirled with questions. What could he possibly know? What could he possibly show me that would matter this much? When I reached the cafe, I saw him first. He looked older, but his eyes were the same, sharp and warm at the same time. He waved me over. "You look terrible," he said with a grin. Somehow that small joke made my chest tighten again, but in a good way. We sat down. He watched me for a moment, and then spoke quietly. "Kim, I know everything." The words made my breath stop. "Everything? What did that mean?" He gave me a file. "Open it." My hands trembled as I opened the folder. Inside were documents. Printouts, screenshots, reports, all of them related to me. Performance evaluations, email threads, internal memos from the company, and then a written statement from a coworker I trusted deeply, accusing me of being mentally unstable and unfit for leadership. My vision blurred. For a moment, I couldn't even breathe. Why is this here? My voice cracked as I spoke. Young Ho put a hand on my shoulder. That coworker has been pushing to take your position. He's been leaking things behind your back. My whole world fell apart in an instant. All those months of tension, discomfort, and strange stares, they suddenly made sense. I felt anger rise, hot and uncontrollable. But right behind it came something unexpected. Relief. Relief that it wasn't all my fault. Relief that I wasn't going crazy. Relief that someone was finally telling me the truth. I leaned back in my chair, shaking. What am I supposed to do now? Young Ho looked at me calmly. You start over. You rebuild on your terms, not theirs. His voice was firm, so I brought you something else. He pulled out another envelope. Thicker, heavier. I opened it slowly. Inside were documents about a business opportunity, one he wanted me to join. He smiled. I've been waiting for the right moment. And Kim, that moment is now. My chest tightened. Hope, fear, excitement. Every emotion crashed into me at once. Why me? I whispered. He answered instantly. Because you're the only one I trust enough to build something real with. For a long time, I didn't speak. I just stared at the papers. My life had been collapsing. For months. But right here, today, a door opened. A real one. I thought about my wife. Her shaking voice. Her warm hands. I thought about the nights. I cried in the dark, alone. And then I breathed out slowly. I'm in, I said. At that moment, I wasn't the broken team manager. I wasn't the man trapped in the system. I was someone starting over. And for the first time in years, I felt alive. After I said I'm in, a strange silence settled between us. Not awkward, but heavy, meaningful. Young Ho leaned forward. There's one more thing. You need to know, he said quietly. My heartbeat instantly accelerated. I had already absorbed more shocks today than in the past year combined. What is it? I asked. He hesitated, a hesitation that made my stomach twist again. He finally spoke. The company isn't done with you. I felt my blood run cold. What do you mean? Not done with me? He slid another document toward me, a printed email chain. At the bottom, my name appeared again and again. Not just evaluations, plans, meetings about replacing me, discussions about managing me out, even steps to isolate me from key projects. My hands shook so hard, I almost dropped the papers. You weren't imagining it, Young Ho said sternly. They've been tightening the net for months. A mix of fear and anger surged inside me. But underneath all that was something stronger. Clarity. For the first time, I saw everything clearly. All the silent meetings, all the cold stares, all the sudden workload increases. It wasn't my failure. It was their plan. And that realization hit me with unexpected force, power. I looked at Young Ho. So this business, you're saying it's real? Not some fantasy? He smiled confidently. Kim, I wouldn't drag you here to play games. I need a partner, not a shadow. I felt something expand in my chest, a feeling I hadn't felt in years. Possibility. My phone vibrated again. Another company message. Another demand. Another chain trying to pull me back. But this time, I didn't flinch. I didn't panic. I simply turned off the phone. Completely. Young Ho grinned. That's the first right decision you've made in a long time. I let out a breath. A long, shaky, liberating breath. For years, I had survived. Endured. Collapsed. Endured again. But now, I was choosing. Not reacting. Choosing. As we stood up to leave, Young Ho said, tomorrow your real life begins. And for the first time in years, I believed him. I walked out of the cafe, into the cold air, but inside my chest, something warm finally started to burn again.